Early 90s. Rising star Johnny Depp is already conquering Hollywood. He has such acclaimed films as A Nightmare on Elm Street, Crybaby, Edward Scissorhands. Of course, in the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he was a guest star to attract an audience. The film What's Eating Gilbert Grape became the first serious picture for the then aspiring actor Leonardo DiCaprio. Then he was lucky enough to make friends with Johnny Depp, who was already popular. The guys were like brothers to each other. But then their relationship broke down so much that Leo even blacklisted Johnny. Let's analyze the chronology to figure out what happened. But Leo was still a young, novice, little-known artist. He would not have been approved for the role at all if during the auditions, he had not so realistically got used to the image of his hero, a boy with a mental disorder. By the way, this particular role is still considered by film critics to be one of the strongest and most powerful in the entire history of American cinema. In the story, Leo and Johnny were brothers. They were also friends on the set. There were no prerequisites that they would stop communicating later. But it happened as it happened. They never became friends and they were never particularly close. It's funny that their colleagues on the shop floor don't speak well of Leo and Johnny, considering them arrogant people with complex characters. In this regard, the artists really have a lot in common. DiCaprio also forbade all his friends to communicate with Johnny. But then, in terms of career, there are practically no points of contact. Leo chose the role of a romantic guy for himself when he starred in Titanic, Romeo plus Juliet, The Beach. Johnny preferred Tim Burton's Gothic films and the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Later, when many years had passed since the release of the film, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, both actors were asked if they enjoyed working together. Leo replied that he was pleased to deal with outstanding people, alluding to Johnny. At the same time, DiCaprio admitted that he had a hard time on the set. Depp indirectly confirmed this information. Taking advantage of his stellar status at that time, he tortured Leo and mocked him in every possible way. As Johnny explained, he just wasn't in the best of moods. But Leo was well-mannered, so he couldn't fight back. Depp emphasized that Leo behaved much better than he did. In general, Johnny noted that Leo gave his all in this film, and that he respects his work. Actually, this is how the artists expressed mutual respect for each other, if a woman had not mixed into the story. Well, as always, these are the moments when a man's friendship comes to an end. They have a lot in common. Johnny is only a few months older than Pitt. They both grew up in provincial towns in the northern part of the American South. Johnny Depp was born in Owensboro, Kentucky, and Brad Pitt was born in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Both of them hint that they have Cherokee blood in their veins, and both of them receive $30 million per film, which is very unusual for Cherokees. Their Indian origin is steeped in sentimentality and uncertainty, and talking about it suggests that both actors prefer not to consider themselves members of the 30 million per film club. Both of them regularly appear on the covers of tabloids, and are still young enough for women to pay attention to them. Both of them have already been awarded the title of the sexiest man of our time. There were times when Johnny Depp was more popular than Brad Pitt. He gave the impression of a gentle dreamer with an almost childish expression on his face, an imaginative and extremely sensitive man, very reminiscent of Marlon Brando. He got quite difficult in unusual roles. Pitt, like Depp, also starred in the franchise. These were Ocean's movies, but of all the thieves in question, Pitt turned out to be the wittiest and most cheerful. He managed to star in several blockbusters, such as Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He looked frankly stupid in the role of Achilles in Troy. The film Meet Joe Black turned out to be unconvincing. The film The Curious Case of Benjamin Button became the same. But Pitt showed courage by taking on this difficult role, which was impossible to play at all. Pitt also starred in the films Fight Club, Fight Cub, Seven, Say 7N, and Babel, which turned out to be absolutely amazing. In comparison, Tonto's scorched and contrived face looks pathetic and out of place. There's no point in taking sides, however. While Johnny Depp is gradually drowning in his own turmoil, Pitt is showing an enthusiasm that inspires. I do not know if any of them will be able to grow old and turn into a strong and reliable elderly hero, such as, for example, Tommy Lee Jones. However, Pitt is currently taking on any role that comes his way. And if he's making a movie, I'd like to know about it. As for Depp, I wonder how he managed to escape himself so cleverly again.